Hi there, it's David Young, the Resourceful Coach, and what we're going to look at today is distance control. And we're going to talk about really the importance of becoming consistent in your shot and what we're going to get. I'm going to look at a shot that in general most golfers are not particularly happy to play. It's that sort of 70, 80 yard wedge shot, which sort of feels a little bit in between clubs, or we're trying to play the wrong shot as we go through it. And what we're going to do, we're going to explain how to practice on the practice ground and then how we can take it to the golf course. We're going to look at it in two different ways. So the biggest thing for me is the video is called average versus best. And I think this is the psychological thing that you need to get your mind around to start with. What I see with most golfers is when they're looking at a distance, it's always what's my best shot? What's the club that I will hit perfectly to that distance as a full shot? So I see a lot of golfers going to sort of 70, 80 yard wedge shot and they're pulling out something like a lob wedge type club, and then they're hitting it at full power. And every now and again they'll get it right, but often the timing, the contact is wrong, and they end up coming up short, or they thin it over the back of the green. So what we're going to change your mindset here is, as we said, is it average versus best? That one best shot, you might do 1 in 10, but if your average shot is much closer, surely that's the best way to go. So anybody's watched my channel, and a lot of comments I tend to get on my swing is it's quite a short 3/4 swing, yet I still generate the power that I want. And we're actually playing the shot today that probably is my favorite shot in golf. I get a buzz out of sticking that ball next to the hole. So the best part of my game is my short game. Really is my chipping from sort of 80 to 100 yards in, around the greens, bunkers, and I get a real enjoyment out of that, and always have done when I've played golf. So for me, I probably worked on this part of my game more because I enjoyed it more. And if I'm really honest, it's probably the reason I didn't go on and make it more as a player, because I didn't work enough on my longer game. Okay, I became very accurate, but I probably wasn't long enough. So that's where a lot of my data that I've developed is here to get you to understand, is become the average player. Everything about my data is about how good have you got to be to play to that level. And it's about achieving those shots regularly. So when we look at this shot, so 80 yard shot, we're out in the practice ground. Up in the distance there, we've got some posts. They're roughly 50 yards apart, and we'll highlight one of those for you up ahead of us, which is the one we're going for. And I've measured it out. It's exactly 80 yards. And then we'll go to the golf course in a minute and give ourselves an 80 yard shot. And what I want to find is what's that swing, what's that club that I can repeat to get that 80 yards, okay? And for me, that's a 52-degree sort of gap wedge. I know I can hit this 100 yards. Okay, my next club is my sand iron. I know probably if I hit that well, I might get 80 yards. But actually, it's pushing it a little bit, and I don't want to feel that. So we're going to come to the very key thing for this shot. And what I think is generating two things. The first one is find the length of swing that will hit it 80 yards. And then number two, find a rhythm, find a tempo that you know you can repeat it. And I think when you watch the top players on TV, when they play this shot well, it looks as if the swing is quite an even speed back and through. It always looks like they get to a point here, length of swing there, and then the length of the swing on the follow through is pretty consistent. And it looks a lovely rhythm. It's as if their arms, body are all nicely connected through the shot. What I see with amateur golfers, it's like we're trying to hit that ball. It's all a bit of a rush. I want to hit it as far as I can. The ego says I want to hit a sand wedge. I want to hit a lob wedge. When I get my golfers realizing, look, do it with a pitching wedge, do it with a gap wedge, they start to see far more consistent results. And the good thing is, from 80 yards, if you're hitting any sort of wedge, the ball's going to stop. You don't have to worry about that. So that's the important thing to understand, is when you're playing, if you're hitting these clubs inside 100 yards, anything, even a 9-iron, it will stop. So let's go through what I would do if I came and practice. Just got half a dozen balls here. There's our target at 80 yards up the range. And the first thing I want to do before I sort of play any shot is just get a feel of the type of swing that I'm looking for as I'm going through that shot, okay? And the first one, a little bit trial and error, okay? Just sort of get a sensation of what we're doing from there, and you'll see it'll be a 3/4 backswing, nice tempo, through, contact was solid, and the ball there's ended up maybe 10 yards short of where I want to be, okay? But I hit it nice and solidly, so I can learn from that shot. So now what do? I've got two options. I still felt that was not a full swing, or not even probably for me a 3/4 swing, and I've come up at 70 yards, okay? So my two options are, can I make a slightly bigger swing but keep that rhythm with this club? Or do I go to a pitching wedge and allow that with that length of swing to work for me? So it's finding that average tempo, finding that average swing to get the result that I want. Okay, let's go with this club again. Just make a slightly bigger swing, but I'm keeping the same tempo. There. That sounded, looked like I got a little bit more distance on that. So now I'm pin high. Perfect. So now what I've got to train myself to do is feel that as I'm setting up over the shot, there's a big red kite just flying over my head as we go in the shot. So there you go. Lovely idea when we're out here practicing. Is now think, right, I just need to repeat that. I don't need to better it. That's my average shot. That's what I'd like to do. And it's not forcing the shot. So from there again, let's feel that again. Same length of swing, same tempo. Good. Let's have a look at the result. Yep, pin high again. So I'm quite right, a little bit left, but that's not really what this exercise is about. This exercise is about getting consistency of strike and get the distance that I want. And then when I say it's left, I'm probably 15 feet left. So again, if the ball went a long way offline, am I trying to force it? Well, I didn't feel I was there, so I'm going to do the same shot again. So I'm not changing anything. That's the good thing. I've now got a feeling for what I'm doing. I like the idea of it. It feels right. Let's do it again. Now that one's dead on line. Have we got the distance? Yep, landed pretty much pin high. So now I've got the feel of the shot and I'm not forcing it. And why this is so important, by creating this sort of what feels a three-quarter swing, tempo of swing, I'm not trying to hit the ball hard. So I'm actually feeling my coordination is far more balanced, and then it eliminates the really bad shots. Okay, one of my previous videos, sort of how to break 90, was showing you how much a bad shot costs you. Okay, the idea of this is to get that rhythm, get that tempo. When you're watching the guys on TV, what you tend to find then is that they're consistent in their movements. When they're playing well, it's flowing, it's easy. That's what you've got to do. Don't change it. Again, if it's working, do it again. So two more. Got that feel now after the first one. Didn't quite get it there, but the last three, all pretty much around my number there. Okay, so distance again, looks good in the air. Okay, and that one's bang on the number. So again, it's back to that. It's not my best shot, but my average is doing what I want to do. And as a scratch golfer, what would be a good result from 80 yards? To be honest, if I can get down in 3 shots from here, I'm okay with that. I'd like to have a chance of getting down in 2. So we're looking really 20 feet, 15 to 20 feet, a good shot. I'll take that. I don't have to be 2 feet from the flag. Okay, the importance is to get that consistency. All of these balls, the first one maybe not, might have gone in the front bunker, but the last 4 now I've got the feel would all be on the green. And as I said, what I'm going to learn is when I take this to the course in a minute, can I do it on the golf course? Okay, so online, and that's probably 75 yards. So I'm only 15 feet or so short of my target. Really, really happy with that. So the whole idea of this video, become the average player, find out the average distance that you hit that club, know that distance, so when you go to the golf course, when you have it, you're able to repeat it more often. And if we do that, we'll start to see results on the golf course. But let's see, if we give ourselves a few shots into a green, are we getting the results we're after, repeating what I've just practiced? So we've done the practice on the practice ground. Now let's take that idea to the course. And the importance is, again, we've taken the yardage, we've got roughly that 80 yards, and we're just working on that same principle of rhythm and length of swing to get the shot that I want. For my level, what would be a good shot? 15 to 20 feet. That's a par shot for me as a scratch golfer. So it's a shot that I'll probably get down 1 in 10 in 2 shots, 90% time down in 3. Okay, so I'm okay with that. So that's all right. So let's see what we worked on, trust what we've practiced, see if we can hit some shots into the green. So that one's probably, we'll go up and have a look at the shots in a minute. That's probably around about 10 feet. But the nice thing is we keep that rhythm. So the lovely thing is I can just sense that same thing again. Don't need to better that. I'll take 3 of them if I can get them that distance from the hole. Nice and balanced. But hopefully you can see I'm keeping that same length of swing, rhythm. That one's not quite as close, probably about 15 feet, but that's okay. And our last shot, let's see if we can keep that sensation going through. That looks a better line. Oh, got a firm bounce. Can't do anything about that. That's probably ended up about 18 feet away. So by keeping that rhythm, by keeping that tempo and feeling the same swing, I've put 3 balls on the green. I'm not trying to outrace myself by trying to take maybe a lob wedge or something like that and force the shot. I'm just keeping that rhythm. And the more you do it, the more you see the consistency in the shot, the strike, and you'll start to know your distance. But we're going to wander down, just have a look at the results, and hopefully we've got those balls inside 20 feet. So as we walk onto the green, just going to look at my results. And again, from that distance, 80 yards, hard to see where we've ended up. But first shot ended up, what we got? 1, 2, 3, 4 paces from the hole. So round about 10 feet. My second shot has ended up probably about 15 feet. Yeah, about 5 or 6 paces. And the last one around just over 20 feet. But what you can see is if you look at the 3 balls, they've all ended up on the green. I've given myself an opportunity. I've probably, these 2 slightly better than average. That one's slightly worse than average. But by thinking about my average shot, not trying to play the ultimate best shot, I kept the rhythm, I kept the tempo, and I know that's going to give me chances. The worst case scenario, I'm probably going to, as a professional golfer, I'm going to 2-putt them. I'm down in 3. That's pretty much what I should do 90% of the time. So I'm quite happy with that. And I think that's really important to understand. Realize what you're getting as a result. If you're a handicap golfer, even a single figure golfer, 30 or so feet, 35 feet would be a good shot. 18 handicap golfer, anywhere on the green. If you look at my shots and you think you should be better than these, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. You're trying to play the ultimate best shot. For me, that's going to make it really tricky to get consistency because your level of expectation is going to be way too high. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to beat yourself up too much about it. Watch this video. Go back to the start. Watch me on the practice ground. And I've made the same swings when I've walked onto the golf course. And we've got results, as I said, between 10 and 25 feet away. I'm happy with that all day long. I hope you've enjoyed that video. If you have, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share this with your friends. And I look forward to seeing you soon.